Hello and welcome back to the Gentle Parenting Path podcast. I'm so glad you're here. Today's topic is one that I think every parent, carer or educator wrestles with at some point: discipline versus punishment. We've all been there. A child hits their sibling, throws their dinner on the floor or shouts at you, and in that moment you have a split second to decide, do I punish or do I discipline? On the surface, you might think those are the same thing, but they are actually very, very different. By the end of this episode, we're going to have a clearer picture about which is which, why punishment often misses the mark, and what you can do instead that actually works in the long run. So, discipline versus punishment. Let's start with definitions because words matter here. Punishment is about making a child pay for something they've done wrong. It often is about imposing discomfort, shame or fear so they won't do it again. Discipline, on the other hand, is about teaching. It's guiding a child to make better choices next time. It's skill building. One is reactive and one is proactive. If punishment is the penalty box in sports, then discipline is the coach on the sidelines showing you how to play better next time. One says, you messed up, now you sit out. The other says, you messed up, let's figure out how to get it right next time. So why does that matter? Well, because for me, my end goal is not just stopping the behaviour in the moment, it's to raise kids who can manage their own behaviour, think critically and treat others with respect, even when I'm not there to watch and supervise. From a psychological perspective, discipline engages the brain's prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for reasoning, empathy, and long-term decision-making. Punishment often triggers the amygdala, the part responsible for fear and threat detection. If we want children to truly learn from their mistakes, we need to keep them in the part of the brain that can actually process and reflect. Discipline is also relational. It says, I'm with you in this, even though you've messed up. That builds trust, emotional safety, and they are the foundations of real learning. Punishment, on the other hand, can create emotional distance. Children may comply out of fear, but that fear erodes openness over time. It's also worth noting that discipline isn't always soft or permissive. In fact, it's anything but that. Boundaries are still firm, but there are still consequences, but they're connected to the behaviour and designed to teach, not to shame. That's the piece people often misunderstand about gentle parenting, is that there is discipline, and the discipline is not the absence of consequences, it's a thoughtful application of them. I made this particular shift very early on in my own parenting, and I noticed a huge change even with my toddlers. My toddlers stopped trying to hide mistakes and started coming to me more, and the more I've practiced this at every stage, the more I have seen that. A good example is that one of the rules that is in our house is that no one gets in trouble for telling the truth, even if they lied first. And this is a big one, and it's a little bit controversial, I think. Sometimes people really disagree with it, but I personally feel that the natural consequence, which we'll talk about more later in the episode, of lying is this really uncomfortable, horrible feeling that, like, I know when I've told a lie to my parents when I was a teenager, I felt horrid, like my conscience was going, I don't like it. And sometimes, like, I was lying because I felt like I needed to protect myself. And that still felt really, really scary and really, really heavy. I've talked about this with my children, saying I understand how it feels when you lie about something. You're lying because you're worried about how I'm going to react. I don't want you to be worried about how I'm going to react, because you don't get in trouble. You're not going to get in trouble. I'm going to react the same as if you said, hey, I'm getting an ice cream out of the freezer. Is that okay? Like, it's not a big deal when you've made a mistake. We can fix it. Sometimes things are a big deal, but I'm here and I'm with you. And just recently, there was something was eaten in our house that was mine. I'm not going to go into all of the ins and outs because people in real life will instantly know who I'm talking about, and they might do just from this, but and one of those things is, so the person was sneaky and they took my things and they ate it. I was upset, obviously, because I had been really looking forward to the thing. And I went to my children all together and I said, I know what's happened to my item of food. I know what's happened. All I would like is the person to come to me and talk to me. And all three of them went, wasn't me. Like that, right? And I'm like, okay. And I said, I know that one of you's not telling the truth. So you know where I am. I'm going to be up in the dining room, and then I'm going up to my office, which is where I am now. You're going to, like, you know where I am. I'm going to be in one of those two places, and we can just talk about this. So I then started a stopwatch on my watch, and I kept an eye on the time. Within 3 minutes of me saying that to my children, the person who was responsible had come and found me, and they said, I'm really sorry. It was me. I had a sugar craving. I really wanted some sweets, and I didn't think you would say yes to me, so I just ate them, and I didn't really realize what I was doing until it was done, and I feel really, really bad, and I'm really sorry. And I was like, okay. And we praised the effort. So I was like, I'm really glad you came to me. It means so much that you felt you could trust me with the truth. And we talked more and more about it. We were talking for maybe 20 minutes. And I said, you know, this has been an ongoing problem. This has happened before. My feelings are hurt, and I'd like you to repair, because I'm feeling really sad. You know, we've talked in a previous episode about me, sorry, my dog just went for a fly, maybe jump, about me repairing with my children, but we're also teaching them in that moment to repair with me, because the relationship back is important too. I said, I really feel like this needs to be repaired. Do you feel like that, is there something that you could do to make amends? And what we'd agreed was that when they go and spend their pocket money at the weekend, they would not buy as many sweets as they usually do, and they would buy something really small, and then they would actually buy the sweets that they had eaten back for me. They would buy them back, and like, I already had mine this week because I ate yours, so here's me replacing them for you. And that did happen. We reminded them of that when the weekend came, and they were like, oh, yeah, no, I understand, yes, that's fine, I agreed that I would do that. And then that happened, and it was all fine. And that and then the other rule is that once we've dealt with it, we don't talk about it again. So it's not going to be, I'm not going to remind them of it. I'm not going to talk about it in front of them. Like I do have their permission to share the story, as long as I didn't out them completely. So yeah, that was a big thing. Like when people criticize my rule, I'm like, or you could just let me do it my way, and these are the results I get. Under 5 minutes, coming to me and saying, hey, how can I fix this? I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I know I've hurt your feelings. I'm sorry. How can I fix this? And we fixed it, and it's fine. And since that day, the child has come to me every time they've had a sugar craving and said, Mama, I'm having a sugar craving. Can you help me with this? I really, really want to eat some sweets. Can you help me with this? And sometimes that is having a lollipop. I keep some sugar-free lollipops in the house where they don't know where they are. Sometimes that's, okay, why don't we, I think maybe you've got a blood sugar dip. I'm happy for you to have something sweet. Why don't you have jam on toast? Or let's have some peanut butter and some honey on toast. So you've got some carbohydrates and protein, and talking about what that means scientifically for our bodies, what a blood sugar dip feels like. And it hasn't happened since. And I'm feeling very triumphant about that. So for me, like, realizing that they knew that I would guide them through fixing the problem, rather than just like sending them away or having a big emotional reaction. And now they feel safe to admit mistakes quickly. Hey, I've messed up. Can you help me out? And they know I'm always going to go, yes, I am totally here for that. And like, it's changing how they show up long term, how they react to these situations. And I have one teenager, I have one who is racing towards teenage years, and one who is almost a preteen. On his next birthday he'll be classed as a tween, which is terrifying. But it's like, I have worked this out, and we have got this in place before it is too late, and they're teenagers and they're full of hormones and they're pushing boundaries. Like, we have already got the, hey, if you mess up and you make a mistake or you accidentally overstep a boundary, you know that you can come to me and we're going to make it okay together. It's going to be fine. We're on a team. Team Beal. That's what we say in our house. We go Team Beal, or Team Leopard, because that's like kind of our nickname-y thing that we have in our family. But yeah, we're a team. So let's talk about the limits of punishment. Punishment can work in the short term. It can stop a behaviour right now, but it rarely works for a long term. If you take away a child's tablet for a week, you might get temporary compliance, but unless the underlying issue is addressed, that same behaviour is likely to resurface. From a psychology perspective, punishment activates the brain's stress response system. When a child feels threatened, shamed, or excluded, their body floods with stress hormones like cortisol. In that state, their brain shifts into fight, flight, freeze, sometimes fawn, logical reasoning, empathy, self-reflection, all offline. They're not learning a better way, they're just learning how to avoid that discomfort in the future, which often means hiding mistakes or, you guessed it, lying. A common punishment is the naughty step or a classic timeout. The intention is to give the child space to think about what they've done, but most children, especially younger ones, don't yet have the self-regulation skills to reflect productively in isolation. What they often feel instead is anger, shame, and a sense that they've been cast out from the family circle. And then we have the forced apology. You can come off the step when you say sorry, or now you have to say sorry. On the surface, it looks like a lesson has been learned, but developmentally, what's often happening is the child has learned that sorry is a magic word that ends the punishment. There's no real processing of what actually sorry means. There's no real empathy. It's just a transaction. You say this word and I say this word and you give me my freedom. The problem that I have with this and that psychology has with this is twofold. One, it teaches the child to just say words that they don't mean to avoid discomfort, and it kind of robs them of the chance to develop genuine empathy and take real responsibility for their actions. I would like to say there is no judgment here if that's something that you do or that you believe in or that you have done in the past. This is a judgment-free space. I'm just explaining what is actually happening from the viewpoint of your child's brain, from child psychology, and from science. Excluding a child when they make a mistake also has long-term emotional effects. Again, this is psychological. This has been studied psychologically. It is not me making it up or saying, no, you're not doing it right. So psychologically, it can send the message, when you mess up, you lose me. For some children, this fuels anxiety about making mistakes and can kind of develop into perfectionism and just constantly this anxiety of trying to do the right thing. For others, it creates resentment and anger, and it pushes them to distance themselves emotionally from the adult. Both reactions work against the goal of raising children who feel safe enough to be honest and take ownership of their mistakes. In attachment theory, a secure bond is built on the belief that my caregiver is here for me even when I get it wrong. Punishment that isolates, especially without follow-up conversation where you are repairing, that weakens the bond. Over time, children may be less willing to talk about their struggles because they associate mistakes with rejection rather than guidance. What children truly need in these moments is co-regulation, a calm, steady adult who helps them navigate both the big feelings and the consequences of their actions. That's where approaches like time-ins, natural consequences, logical consequences, and meaningful discussions come in. They hold the boundary while keeping the connection intact. Today's episode is brought to you by Wildflower Mornings, my gentle, soul-nourishing journaling program designed for women to help you slow down, breathe, and reconnect with yourself. I have got the author's copy of the printed journal, which you can get on Amazon. The link is in the description, but you can buy it cheaper printed and just print it yourself. I wanted to show you what you're going to be looking at. So, with Wildflower Mornings digital journal, which is the ebook that you can print off, and then there's also a companion audio and video collection where you'll have daily prompts like this, calming guided reflections with me, and it's a moment of peace that's just for you, no matter how busy life gets. I have been listening and I've been using my copy of these. It's quite big. The original, the version that you can get will be A5, but I've been using my other copy of this and I'm loving it. It makes me, oh gosh, it's really, really starting my mornings off. And I always say to you, anyone who's ever viewed me on social media, I only promote things that I'm using and that I believe in. And I've made this for me and I'm just sharing it with you. Right now, you can join our early bird pre-launch. It goes live. This is already live. This is already live on Amazon, but our early bird pre-launch for the digital journal and the video and audio collection and the lifetime membership, which includes a Facebook group where we're going to go live every week and we're going to journal together in the mornings, the early bird pre-launch is live now, and if you use the code earlybird at checkout, you get 25% off, and that is until the 1st of September. At midnight on the 1st of September, that code will no longer work and everything will be full price. So I would get it now. Everything that's ordered now will go out on the 1st of September. I'm so excited to share it with you. The first 15 people who sign up to that lifetime membership, they will always pay that. So if you pay it for the lifetime membership, which includes all of the upgrades that will come in the future, you will only pay for 1 year with a lifetime membership, monthly for a year, and you get that discount for the whole year. And yeah, it's so exciting. I'm so exciting. And I'm really excited to open the Facebook group and have you in there and journal with everybody. It's going to be really fun. So pour yourself a coffee, find a cozy spot and start your mornings the wildflower way. Visit payhip.com/thewildflowerpath or check in the description for the link. Everything is linked there below. And come and join us. Come and start your mornings the wildflower way with me. Yay. Okay, let's get back to the episode. So, natural versus logical consequences. Like in the previous episodes, I'm not just going to say, hey, this is not the gentle parenting way to do it, and then leave you hanging. I'm going to give you some real tools and how you can actually do this. I'm going to give you a cheat sheet. We're giving you a cheat sheet. That's what this podcast is all about, is giving you a cheat sheet so you don't have to work it out all by yourselves. One of my favourite discipline tools, and one that works with children of all ages, is natural consequences. The natural consequence happens without any interference from us, and if your child leaves their bike out in the rain, for example, it gets rusty. If they refuse to wear a coat, they get cold. If they ignore a reminder to bring their water bottle, guess what? They get thirsty. Those are our natural consequences. The power of natural consequences is that you don't have to be the bad guy. The world delivers the feedback. This keeps the parent-child relationship intact. You're not the source of the discomfort. You're the safe person who helps them process it and then fix it. And psychologically, lessons learned through experience tend to stick far longer than lessons delivered through lectures. The sensory and emotional experience cements the memory in a way words often can't. Of course, there are times when natural consequences aren't safe or practical, and if a consequence could cause real harm, we don't let it happen. This is where logical consequences come in. So, a logical consequence is something we put in place, but it's directly connected to the behaviour and done respectfully. If a child spills milk because they were messing around at the table, the logical consequence is helping clear it up. If they draw on the wall, the logical consequence is washing it off together or repainting it. Logical consequences teach cause and effect while preserving the child's dignity and the parent-child bond. The psychology here is important. When the consequence is clearly related to the action, children can connect the dots more easily. Their brain can go, oh, I see why this happened, instead of, well, this is random and unfair. That sense of fairness is huge for cooperation and trust, not just in the moment, but going forward. It's also worth noting that logical consequences should be proportionate, enough to make the connection, but not so big that it feels like a punishment in disguise. If your child forgot to feed the dog, a logical consequence might be making it their job for the rest of the week with supervision, not banning them from seeing their friends for a month. When the consequence fits, it feels like guidance and not revenge. So, time-ins and discussions. So let's talk about time-ins, one of the most underused but powerful tools we have. A time-in is the opposite of a time-out. Instead of sending a child away because they're upset or have made a mistake, you invite them in to sit with you. The goal is co-regulation, helping them calm down in the presence of your steady, non-judgmental energy. From a neurological standpoint, this is powerful because the child's nervous system is still developing. They often borrow our calm through a process called co-regulation. By staying physically present, you're signaling safety, which helps them move out of this fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and get back into a state where they can think, talk, and learn. During a time-in, you're not lecturing them in the heat of the moment. You're waiting until emotions have settled. This might mean sitting quietly together, reading a book, or simply offering gentle touch. I am a big fan of having a cuddle because that helps co-regulation. It regulates me too. And actually, at the time I'm filming this, I have a 5-year-old in my house. I have my friend's 5-year-old in my house. And I was talking out loud about how I was feeling about plans changing. It's a hot day and I can't go on my dog walk. And I said, you know what would really help me regulate my emotions right now? I really feel like I need a hug. Emma editing here. Unfortunately, there is about to be a dog barking in the video. Unfortunately, it was too late for me to edit it out or change it, but I just wanted to warn you so it doesn't make you jump. And this little 5-year-old, who's the most adorable little thing in the whole world, comes running up to me and she says, "I'll give you a hug." And she gave me the biggest, squeeziest hug, and I did feel better. And I was like, oh, I feel so much better when I have a hug. And she was like, I know, because she's very wise. So once we're calm, we can then shift into a discussion. Discussions are where the real teaching happens, and I love these moments with my children. Instead of telling a child exactly what they did wrong and what to do next time, you guide them with open-ended questions. Curiosity. I love playing detective. That's my favourite thing when we're having these. What happened? How are you feeling at the time? How do you think your friend felt or your sibling felt when that happened? What could we do differently next time? How could we fix it? This approach taps in to the brain's mirror neuron system, the part that helps us understand and empathize with others. By walking through feelings and perspectives, you're literally wiring their brain for empathy. And the whole world needs a lot more empathy. If we can do it with our generation of kids, we are on to a winner. Like, this is going to be amazing. This is how you replace the forced apology. In a discussion, you're not demanding, say sorry. You're helping them understand the impact of their actions so they want to make amends. That amends might be words, but it could also be fixing what was broken, writing a note, or doing something kind. Genuine repair grows the relationship. Performative sorries do not. And I would like to caveat this with, forcing a child to write a sorry note is not what I mean. No, thank you. That is not where we're going with this. We don't want a forced apology of any kind. We don't want forcing the making amends, because that's not what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to achieve children who have consciences, who are critically thinking, who are empathizing and going, oh yes, I really understand. What would make this person feel better, not what do you think I should do? So here is the big takeaway from today. Punishments aim to make a child pay for a mistake. They're about vengeance. They are not about teaching. Discipline aims to help them learn from the mistake. The tools we've talked about, natural consequences, logical consequences, times in, and genuine, deep discussions all hold boundaries while keeping our connection with our children strong. When children feel safe, understood, and guided, they're far more likely to internalize your values and make better choices on their own. That's the goal, not blind obedience. That is not safe. Blind obedience is a massive safeguarding concern for me as a girl guiding leader and as a parent. But thoughtful, compassionate decision-making, green light. I'd love to hear your stories. Have you replaced punishment with a discipline strategy? What happened? How does that work for you? Do you want can I help you? Can I help you talk about this more? Let me know. I've got future episodes kind of loosely planned, but I tend to film them like I don't really have a major definite plan until the day I film. So if you have questions, please comment. I know you can comment on various platforms that this is on, so please comment, send me an email. My email's always in the description. And I'd love to speak to you. Send me an email, write a comment, share on my Instagram. All of my socials are in the description. I'd love to feature some on a future episode. And if you are watching this and you are a gentle parenting parent like me, I would love to chat with you, and I'd love to have you on an episode. If you are a parent who is also a mental health professional and this is something, or a child development specialist, or a childcare working someone in childcare, I would love to speak to you about this. So please get in touch. Maybe we could hang out on an episode and we could talk about this. So I will let you know on my YouTube channel what's going to be in the next episode. But as I say, I don't decide until the day before, because just to see what feels right. Make sure you're subscribed on whatever platform you're watching, whether you're on Amazon Music, whether you're on Spotify, or if you're on YouTube, and that way you won't miss my next episode, and you won't miss any other episodes either. Thank you for spending time with me today, and remember, connection and teaching will outlast fear and shame. Take care, and I'll see you soon.